It's the Deep for the Week talk show. Are you ready to talk? Let's get deep for the week.
Hello, and thank you for watching the Deep for the Week show. Do not forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. We love to hear back from you. Now, today's show is on gang membership. So let's get started. I have what you can call affiliation with gang membership, gangs, gang banging, whatever you want to call it. I come from a family that is deeply involved in gang banging. My brother was an OG, what you call an OG Crip, and still is. He doesn't still walk around throwing up signs, Crip walking and things like that. But I come from a family of that where it's all started. Like, where the members and the leaders and that shit comes from my family. So I wanted to do a show on that and talk about why I feel like you should not be endorsing that. And what's the ups and downs? Like, there are some perks, some good things that it can add to one's life and character and social life. And then there's some downfalls, so what are they? So let's talk about that today. So let's get today's guest started. So first, tell us your name, where you're from. You can tell us where you were affiliated with, or if you want to go that far, and what you like to be called. You don't have to use your real name, whatever you want to be identified as on the show today. But tell us your name, where you're from, and how old are you, and stuff like that. We'll start with that.
Not a problem. Well, first off, I appreciate you having me on, even thinking about me. Well, my name is Brandon. Everybody, most people that know me call me BT. Everybody calls me BT, from homies to family members. Nobody, I think only my mama calls me Brandon, and that's only when I'm in trouble. You know what I'm saying? So, but you can call me Brandon. And I'm from Altadena. You know what I'm saying? I was affiliated with Altadena Block. My older brother was Altadena Block Crips, right? And see, because my older brother was a Crip. And, when you live in a household like that, you know what I'm saying, you're affiliated whether you want to be or not. See, this is the thing is you got wannabes, you got affiliates, and then you got gang members, and then you got gang bangers. These is all different motherfuckers, man. You know what I'm saying? And when I was coming up, there was, you know what I'm saying, you was gang banging. Like in the 90s, niggas was gang banging. You know what I mean? Meaning it wasn't about hustling, it wasn't about looking cute, it wasn't about none of that. You know what I'm saying? Niggas was gang banging because the other side was gang banging. So it was real in the field back then. And I'm not saying it's not real now. I'm just saying, I just remember when I was coming up, it was real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't about, money, cars, and whoop-de-whoop. It was about gang banging. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas was gang banging just to gang bang. People would wake up gang banging, go to sleep gang banging. And it was serious. When you're dealing with people who, 24/7 is gang banging, that's a different type of motherfucker. And there was a lot of those type of motherfuckers around, when I was coming up. You know what I'm saying? So I think it was, and also it was the culture. It was. I hate to say it, but in California, that is part of our culture. That is part of Black culture in Southern California. It's gang banging.
It's like a livelihood,
Completely. You know what I'm saying? It's everything to a lot of people, and I understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember shit, man. All right, shit. Sorry, I don't mean to get off a tangent, but let me revert. Let me go back so I can tell you, the interesting shit, right? So, see, I grew up, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't from the projects or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I grew up. My mom and my daddy I grew up in the suburbs. Altadena's the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it has its bad parts. Pasadena has its bad parts. Altadena has its bad parts, but it's the fucking suburbs. You know what I'm saying? When you look at it, but hell, half of LA is the suburbs. You got projects and shit, but half of LA is the suburbs. So it's all the same landscape. But I had two working parents. My daddy worked for the railroad. And that was a good job for a Black man back then in the 80s, late 70s, early 80s. You know what I'm saying? Working for Southern Pacific Railroad, that was a great fucking job. That was back when people could work blue-collar jobs and still take care of a family type shit, And then my mama works for Lake Pantyhose. So I had a two parent income house. And I went to private school. So me and my older brother, we went to Catholic school. Yeah. We went to, a lot of people don't know that. We went to Catholic school from kindergarten. I went to Catholic school from kindergarten to 6th grade. My brother went to Catholic school from kindergarten to 8th grade. Now, this is very important, and I'll tell you why. When my brother got into 9th grade, my parents, pretty much found out that, we can't, really afford private high school. You know what I'm saying? You talking about $3,000 a month, even in the fucking 90s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So my peoples was, you know, we just couldn't afford it. And so they ended up putting my brother at John Muir High School. And John Muir High School is one of the hoodest high schools in Pasadena, right? So you got to imagine something. You go from wearing uniforms, wearing Catholic uniforms, a yellow shirt and blue corduroys every single day. It was maybe, you can count the black people on one hand, including me and my brother. You know what I'm saying? So we went to school with nothing but mainly white people. Most of our friends were white. Hell, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I was a little kid, you know what I'm saying? So you talking about girlfriends and everything, you know? Like we grew up around white people. But both of us also played Pop Warner football. So all the ghetto niggas was playing Pop Warner football. So all the little youngsters that, you know, went to the regular public schools out there in Pasadena or wherever, they all played Pop Warner football. So see, I had
two games popped.
You feel what I'm talking about? They don't know, bro. They don't know, bro.
Yeah.
You know, they don't. People was getting killed back in the Pop Warner, not high school, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of had the best of both worlds. I was going to private school with number white kids, and then when I got out and I went to football practice, I was going with nothing but young black niggas. You know what I'm saying? So it was difficult. It was difficult. But it was it was heaven sent, because that is what was able to make me successful to this day. I was able to function in both worlds. I can't even really tell you how hard of a transition that was. But I saw it, and I saw it. He changed one semester. The second semester of high school is when he started gangbanging. And you got to understand, you go from being a Catholic school boy to gangbanging in the early 90s. We talking about 91. All right. Yeah. So you have to kind of, if you sit back and you think about that, you can think about what was going on with that dude. And what was going on was, you know, he was just thrown into a high school that was full of gangs and shit and full of just rough motherfuckers, rougher people than what me and my brother was really used to like that on a daily basis. And, you know, what happened was, you know, he was like he was really smart. He was in what they used to call a space academy. It was like a separate program for kids who were really good at math and science. So he was in this, right? And during lunchtime, all the blacks were out on the yard, kind of like fucking jail. They were all out on the yard. A lot of the Hispanics would go into the cafeteria, and then anybody who was like really nerdy would be like in a teacher's classroom. So my brother used to be in a teacher's classroom that whole first semester. Like, that's what it was, right? And one day he said he had a class, and it was this Crip dude. I ain't gonna say his name. I ain't gonna name names, but it was a Crip dude, and he would just talk to my brother, like, "Hey man, what's up?" You know, and my brother would, you know, he just kind of befriended him a little bit. And I guess he asked my brother one day, "Hey man, why don't I never see you at lunchtime? Like, you know, where you be at, bro?" And then he told him, like, "Man, I be in the, you know, with the teacher in the class." He said, "You be with the teacher?" He said, "Bro, next lunchtime," he said, "come where I'm at." He's like, "Come where I'm at." And my brother, he's oblivious to all this shit. He's like, "Oh, okay," you know what I'm saying? Okay, you know, he's thinking he made a friend, you know what I'm saying? So that lunchtime, he goes and he finds this dude, and then game over. And you know,
that's when life changed.
Game over. He goes and he hangs with this dude, and these are out in the block Crips, and he just fell into it. That's exactly how I got into it. Now, when it came to me, he was telling them. So my point is, he went from 0 to 100, right? So I mean, everything about him changed. His mentality, the way he thought, how he dealt with people, the depression, motherfucking anger, drug use. You know what I'm saying? Alcohol use. Everything was different about this dude. You know, I was scared of him. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was scared of him. I didn't know who he was. You know, and what fucked me up was what I noticed. The first thing I noticed was he used to have a blue rag on his he had like a dresser, and he put a blue rag on top of the dresser. I didn't know what that meant. You know what I'm saying? And he had like his little chains and shit on the blue rag, and I didn't know what that shit meant. I just was like, oh, this is cool, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. It was a public school up the street called Elliott. Elliott was so bad back in the day, they called it the pink prison because there was like makeshift bullet holes in the front of the school. But this is a fucking junior high school, and they called it the pink prison. So, and I remember, you know what's funny, bro, is I remember when I was going to Catholic school one day, my mom was driving us home, and literally St. Elizabeth, my Catholic school, was right up the street from the ghettoest motherfucking middle school out there. And we driving home, and we seen all the kids come out, and I'll never forget. My mama one day told me she was like, "Boy, you'll never go to a school like this." You know what I'm saying? I swear, fucking a year later, I was at that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going somewhere with all of this. So I'll never forget. I wish I could name names, but I can't. But I had a dude, and I all of a sudden I go to my first day at Elliott Junior High School, public school, and bro, I didn't know how to dress, none of that shit. You know, I was wearing a uniform every single day at school. I didn't know what public school. I didn't know that shit. I didn't know about creases. I didn't know about none of that shit. I'll never forget. I had these orange Nikes. You know what I'm saying? Orange, and didn't match with nothing I had. You know what I'm saying? And I'll never forget. It was them orange Nikes that got me into all this shit because niggas was just bagging on them orange Nikes like it was nothing. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know how to bag. They call it cap. Now I didn't know how to cap. None of that shit. What happened was this. I'll never forget this. I was second day. It was this dude. It was this light-skinned dude in my gym class, and he was one of the dudes. Like he just befriended me. He was cool. I remember he had a long ponytail. He was cool as fuck. He didn't judge me. He didn't fuck with me. He didn't none of that. He just was cool. You know what I'm saying? So I would tell him, I was like, yeah, I just came to private school, man. He was like, oh shit, man. Woo. So he was just a nice dude, man. So I was like, I really like this dude. Man. Him I can name. His name was Adrian. And Adrian was like, he told me, he was like, hey man, he's like, what you be doing after school? I'm like, shit, nothing really, bro. I go to football and stuff. He's like, man, why don't you come hang out at the park with me and the homies or whatever? I was like, cool, right? So I go home. I'm excited like a motherfucker. I go home and I tell my boss, like, hey man, this dude invited me down to a park to kick it and stuff. He was like, oh yeah. You should see his face. He was like, oh yeah. He was like, what park? And I was like, oh, woo 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 woo. He was like, oh hell no. So he was a blood. And he was scared. The park was a blood park in Pasadena, right? So he's like, oh hell no. He's like, nigga, you ain't never going down there. Woo woo. And that's when he started explaining to me. He was like, listen, nigga, sit down. You know what I'm saying? And he started explaining to me about Altadena and Pasadena and the different gangs. Woo, woo, woo. I'm like, oh, fuck, man. So anyway, I'm there. I had this one kid, man. He was a blood. I just didn't know it back then. He was a fucking bully, man. He was trying to bully me, man. He was in my homeroom. And I ain't gonna lie to him. I was scared of the nigga. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. I was scared of him because he just had this. I wasn't used to being around niggas like that. And I ain't know. I've never been a punk though. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna lie. I was scared of him. You know what I'm saying? So he used to like do little shit, do little shit. And I'll never forget. I came home one day and I was in my room and I was crying. You know what I'm saying? And then my mom came in and she was like, "What's wrong?" And I was telling her, I was like, "Man, this dude keep fucking with me." She was like, boy, you better, you know what I'm saying? You got to have to do something. And my mama was like, boy, you want to do something. You know what I'm saying? So I'll never forget. I think the next day he said something and I said something back and we got into it. And I never really had any problems after that with him. But that dude ended up becoming a killer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny because he ended up becoming a real killer. But this was like my first bully. You know what I'm saying? So just to give you context of what the fuck I was dealing with, you know? So anyway, you know, I see it was something about, I was a sports player, but it was something about the street shit that I just liked. I just liked it. Like I used to look at the Crip dudes and they had their own little area and shit. And shit just looked hard. You know what I'm saying? The shit just looked fucking tough. And I was drawn to it. I can't fucking lie. I was drawn to it like a motherfucker. And what really fucked me up was I went to this is still junior high. I went to the warehouse. It was for the Gen Z. Yeah, we actually had to go and buy to a fucking store and buy music. All right, it wasn't downloading that, right?
Right. So that was life, though. I loved that part of our childhood.
I did too. I missed that part.
The warehouse and all that.
That was the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like just physical copies of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it just meant more. You know. So like I went to the warehouse one day. and still squaring the motherfucker. And I was buying. It was some rap group called the UMCs or something. It was super hip hop, super East Coast hip hop. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And my brother was with me. And my brother was like, man, what you buying, man? What you getting, man? You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, man, this is UMC. He's like, man, put that shit back. He's like, here, man, get this. So I'll never forget. It was an album. The artist was Brother Lynch, huh? Oh. And the album, I know gangster. I know you know. So y'all don't know about Cali, bro. I'm not gonna put her out there, but I know a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know Brother Lynch.
Yeah, man.
It was Brother Lynch's first album, 24 Deep, and Brother Lynch was on the cover. He was in the casket with a 12 gauge on, like he was dead with a 12 gauge. And I remember looking at my brother like, "What is this? Like, I'm not buying this." And he's like, "Bro, just trust me, buy it." I'm like, man, my brother crazy, man. I was like, all right. So I had my mom buy it. I was thinking for the first time, like, should I be? I'm a Christian, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to hell listening to this, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let alone doing anything he talk about, just listening to this nigga, I'm gonna go to hell. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you feel the first, like, is this okay? Is this Satan rapping okay?
Seriously.
He's like a real gangster. That nigga crazy.
Seriously. And the funny thing is, if you have to ask yourself, is it okay if I listen to this? Then hell no, it ain't okay. You know what I'm saying? If you have to ask yourself.
For real. For real, but when you said junior high, so it's like, dang, that just tell you how we jumped off the porch. That shit ain't no joke.
They don't know. So I remember listening to this song, and I'm like, I was turned out. I was like, man, this shit is amazing. Like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? And then I started to understand, started listening to the lyrics, and then I'm looking at people at school, and I just started I studied it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of jumping out there, like I've never been a dumb motherfucker. I've always been an intelligent person. Anybody who has ever known me, for anybody who knows Brandon, they will tell you that. They will fucking tell you that. But it's the truth, though. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how my daddy and my mama raised me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm never gonna just jump into something. I'm gonna peep the scene, learn it, research it, and then get down if I want. So that's what I was doing with all of this shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm listening to the music. I'm looking at the niggas at school. And then I just kind of started going. But like I said, I knew some of them because I played baseball or football with some of them. So I remember one day I went over to the table and I was like, and I was like, and niggas was cool. Like, it wasn't no, nigga, what you doing over here type shit. It was like, what up, bro? You know what I'm saying? So I all that shit intrigued me. And that's how I kind of started getting my feet wet with that shit. You know what I'm saying? I kind of started kicking it, but I also have my own homies who didn't do that. But again, the thing about Altadena is a very small community. I could say the same. I know you understand being from Doherty and Monrovia, the whole 9 yards. It's very small community.
Cities are still small together, you know.
That's what I know. You're right. You're right. And so everybody know everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all the non-affiliates know the gang members. Half niggas, we all brothers or cousins or live around the corner, or live down the street or whatever. We all know each other. That's why just living in Altadena, you're gonna get marked as a Crip because they label all of us as Crips, whether we a square motherfucker or whether we didn't kill 5 niggas. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas don't care. When
outside of California, they don't even realize, like, like I said, it's a livelihood. You don't even realize that you gangbanging. Like, you born into it, or you're just kind of walk into it, and don't really realize it, and you just label, like, now you niggas is all Crips. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
it's true.
That, it's really hard to go.
No, you're right. You're right. And I don't, like you said, I don't think a lot of out-of-towners really understand that. Like, I didn't choose none of that shit. And you ask me to this day, I ain't no fucking gang member. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You ask me to this day, you know what I'm saying? I'm just telling you my story. You know what I'm saying? You can label this a talk with a gang member or not. I'm just Brandon. I always have been that. You know what I'm saying? And I can tell you what I have and what I have done, how I got down. You know what I'm saying? But I never looked at myself like that. And I never was that. You know what I'm saying? Did I do shit? Did I whoop-de-whoop? Yeah. Was I saying words and was I whoop-whoop? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I was. You know what I mean? But I would, there was a lot of niggas who gave their life to it. There was a lot of niggas who, this was their everything. Now, them is the real niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I want to state that because I don't want to take nothing away from them. I don't want to sit up here like I'm just this big woo-woo because I ain't. You know what I'm saying? But I know niggas who are. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to take away from them by sitting here saying that I'm just no, I'm super active, X low. Nah, bro. You know what I'm saying?
And I get that, you know, being, you know, born into, like, you know, everybody in family, my family's affiliated. So I get what you're saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Because growing up, I was 5-year-old listening to my mom's playing tricks and my brother telling me to throw the setup. So it became a natural thing, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, as a girl, even, you know what I'm saying? So I'm listening to music. It's a natural thing to just throw it up. And, you know, so it's like, it's a lot. You don't even understand you're doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, or that, you know, and then so now I look like I'm a female that game, man, because you might see pictures of me or you might catch me dancing and throwing it. But it's just, it's life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so I get what you're saying when you say, you know, I can't say I really even was a gang member, but, you know what I'm saying? I was a part of the shit, though, you know?
You know what it is. I appreciate you clarifying that, because that's what I'm saying. You know, because I don't want motherfuckers to understand. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to, you know, I ain't here. I'm just showing. I'm here to tell y'all who I am. You know, and that's how I feel. That's how I feel. And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? And you understand exactly what I'm saying. So, like, you know, I was getting into it and shit, and you know, I'll never forget the end of 7th grade. Like I said, I'm going somewhere with it. In the 7th grade, I got in like my first like real fight with somebody, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, man, I'll never forget it. You know, the dude rose up on me, and he was older than me. He was in 8th grade, I was 7th grade. He just talking that shit, you know what I'm saying? And you know what it was? It was more fear than anything. You know what I'm saying? And man, he balled up his fist on me. And I remember just not even thinking. I just cocked back and I hit him. I hit him dead in his nose. And I remember just seeing all of this. I broke his nose. All of this blood just splattered everywhere. And the funny thing was, it was a Crip dude. He jumped. I didn't even need him to jump in. Like I'm beating this dude. I'm whooping. And from that first hit, he was done. He grabbed his nose and then he just went down like this. And I'm just pow pow. And then all of a sudden,
I'm getting my name for the game.
Period. And you know what it was? He was talking shit about my mom. And the thing about it was, my grandma had died that morning. My mom got the call, and I remember eating breakfast, and then she just fell to her knees. And then I was like, fuck? And then I hear my dad come running out, and then my dad like was picking her up, and she's just crying. So that was my morning, and that's the morning that this motherfucker decides to say something bad about my mama. Oh, nigga. It was like a perfect storm. You know what I'm saying? So anyway,
I know I ain't getting no whooping when I get home today. I'm finna tell Mommy was talking about y'all.
Period. Hey, I might get taken out to eat because of this one. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just sitting there working this little. And I always get into it with big motherfuckers. And I don't mean, I'm not being disrespectful, but like oversized motherfuckers. I don't know what it is about them niggas, but they always fucking with me. So I'm just working it. Pow, pow. I didn't need no help. And then one of the Crip homies just came running over and then just taking off on the dude, just boom, boom, boom. And now we beating the shit out of him. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm saying, I didn't ask this nigga to do. He just seen it and just came running. It's fun. It was fun for him. You know what I'm saying? So you see, you know what I mean? That's how much shit gets started. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, 9th grade come, you know, and then I'm going to John Muir. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm at Muir, and in Altadena, Pasadena, you know, it's the Crips are outnumbered, like super outnumbered. You know what I'm saying? So at Muir, it was a mix. You know, it was a mix. You got Bloods and you got Crips there, but Muir was more known as a Crip school, though. You know what I'm saying? Because the Crips that did go there put the mask down. You know, because they had to, because
it wasn't all of y'all, so y'all had to make a name for y'all. So like, don't fuck with the little bit of us, because we will.
That was it. That was always, I say, Altadena's claim to fame. You know what I'm saying? It is because I know that's one of the things personally that made me kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? Is I couldn't go, me and the homies, man. You know what I'm saying? Like we couldn't go nowhere. We couldn't go to that football, and this thing, we weren't banging like that. So we wanted to go to all the shit. We wanted to go to the dances, the track meets, the football games, and we did. You know what I'm saying? But every time we went to the football game, every time we went to the track meeting, we was playing PHS or Blair or Marshall or whatever, you know what I'm saying? All the Bloods would be there. You know what I'm saying? And they if you even smell like you from Altadena, know what I'm saying, or look like, you know what I'm saying, they don't care. They don't care if you banging or not. They getting at you. So a lot of times we just be up in the football stands, you know, in the crowd, you know what I'm saying. I remember one time we was just like, it was like 4 of us. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, like 12 niggas just came from everywhere. They had plotted on us. You know what I'm saying? And we in the stands, and all of a sudden we just look up like, oh, fuck. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's just, now we just fighting. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if that shit was everywhere we went, and I know it was shit like this for me. So I went to all the shit, you know what I'm saying? So I was a sophomore. I think it was a sophomore sweetheart dance or something. I remember I was dancing, man. And we was at some venue where I was dancing. I was on the floor, you know what I'm saying? Dancing with somebody. And all of a sudden, these 2 niggas just come up while I'm dancing. And they're like, blah, woo, woo, woo. And I'm like, fuck, man. So I'm like, man, I'm like, what? I'm talking shit. They talking shit. And then the girl's like, man, we're dancing. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, talking to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, what are y'all doing? We just dancing. And they're like, man, fuck that, all that. Woo, woo, woo. You know what I'm saying? And then so now these niggas jump me and I start scrapping with them, whatever. So it was shit like that. We driving up the street and we pass, probably people don't know past the house. But anyway, maybe about 6 or 7 blocks up, we all of a sudden, and the thing is, there was some tricky shit because my brother is usually on it, and so am I. You know what I'm saying? I did not see these motherfuckers. Before we know it, there was a station wagon right next to us. They were in this lane. We were in this lane. They were in this lane. A station wagon pulled up on us. I swear, bro, it must have been 12 niggas in this motherfucking station wagon. It was just, man, I'm not even exaggerating.
I know you not.
And I look over and it's like a horror movie. You know what I'm saying? Like I look over and I'm like, oh my God, right? And these niggas are rolling down the window and they just blah, woo, woo. And then literally everybody in that car had a gun. All of a sudden I just see like a movie. I just see guns coming out the window. And I'm like, I'm just like a deer in headlights. I'm like, oh my God. And it's me in the front seat, my brother driving, and there's 2 of my homies in the back. And they like, my brother's smart, man. All of a sudden he had to give a little bit of background, he had an arch enemy, and the arch enemy was in that car. And all of a sudden my brother hit the brakes, which was the best thing he could have done. Because when he hit the brakes, they shot in front of us. Right, so they didn't get a chance to shoot. Like that's how fast it was. I mean, when I say I'm talking about milliseconds, and my brother hit a U real quick, boom, and then smashed down the street. Now that dude that was his arch rival, he wanted him so bad. This nigga gets out the car and he starts running after the car, and he's running out after the car with the heat. And then my brother dips into this like it was like a parking lot, and he makes a right into the parking lot, and then the dude didn't expect him to do it. And then the dude kind of flew this way, and then he fell kind of, and then tried to go this way, and then my brother was already up out of there. So he never got close enough to actually pull the trigger. Because when I say for people who never had a motherfucker try to murder them, it's a certain look a motherfucker has in their eyes, and I'll never forget that look. Like there would have been no remorse. There would have been nobody cares about niggas' mamas or daddies or people who won't.
Yeah, at that point they already in a different place. Like
100%. And it's almost like looking at a demon. And I ain't never seen a demon. You know what I'm saying?
But like that's fully black eye. You're like, where is the white in that shit? For real.
Real talk. That's the look that dude had. And I'll never forget that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember, and then we went home, and then I remember like, man, and that day, my dad, because my brother parked the car in the driveway. My dad took me and my homies home. And I remember that day, I remember talking to myself. I was like, man, that's it. Like, I'm tired of these niggas, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'll never forget thinking that. And it was an organic thought too. It wasn't, oh, fuck that. Woo, man, fuck these niggas. No, I was just like, I am tired of these motherfucking niggas. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't about like putting in work, and then it was just like, if any little thing happens, fuck that, and we're going all out.
You gotta be affiliated with somebody because these niggas is coming 12 and shit. So I gotta have 12 niggas I know. And so that's kind of how it happens,
That's
like,
real. That's
12
real.
niggas that don't like these niggas that keep coming towards me. I gotta go with the 12, and unfortunately, it's the 12 niggas that wear blue. and 12 niggas that wear red is the one that's chasing me. So I got to go over there. It's like it, you know what I mean?
That's real. That's real. And that's, you know what I mean? People want to get caught up with red and blue. And ain't that. It's not. A lot of the times it's not that shit. It's just, you know, friends and enemies, man. They put us on what they call a gang file. They put up on us, took all of our names, gave us all fake ass nicknames, and put us on what we know is a gang file, whatever. So now we can't even really be around each other. But we not. They didn't tell us that back in the day. They just like, you niggas is on the gang file. We don't even know what that is.
It was up to you to look up what that shit mean.
It was, and we didn't. You know what I'm saying? And now we wondering why they fucking with us more and hotter and all that. You know what I'm saying? If it's more than one of us together, now they got legal rights to just search everything. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know nothing about that shit, so it's just happening to us. We just thinking in our young black minds, oh, they hot. The ones is hot. The police is hot. That's all we ignorant. That's all we thinking. These motherfuckers that got laws against little niggas. We fucking kids, man. We fucking kids, bro. And I was a good kid, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying my homies wasn't. You know what I'm saying? But I can't talk for them. I was a good kid. You know what I'm saying? But I was just trying to survive what the fuck was going on around me. All this is going on. This is 9th, 10th grade. All this is going on. 11th grade hit. I'm in early 11th grade. Early, I'm talking about September, October, maybe. I'm in class, right? I'm in my first period class. And it was like this dude, he was just a hustler. And both of us, I'm in 11th grade, but I was like one of the biggest hustlers at the school. And so was my partner here that I was sitting there talking to. We were young, but we was in the money, you know what I'm saying? And we had older homies. I had an older brother who was showing me how to do shit, you know what I'm saying? So I had money, you know what I'm saying? I was doing shit. And so was he. So we were sitting back in the back of the classroom and we were like laughing about that shit. We was clowning about it. You know what I mean? I was like, nigga, I got like 300 on me right now. We showing it, you know what I mean? He like, nigga, I got 250, nigga, but I got like, look at my sacks. He like, look at my sacks. Ooh, so we doing that kind of shit, right? So I had a punk ass dean, Mr. Culberson. I hope you do see this, nigga. I had a punk ass dean, bro. He always had it out for me because John Muir played Pomona for the first time in the time that we played. This was the first time Muir had played Pomona in like 15 years or something. For some reason, when I got to high school, all the teams that they banned John Muir playing, these were like the first years that they start letting us play them again. So we played Pomona, we played Locke and Watts, we played Long Beach Jordan. You know what I'm saying? So we playing some shit, right? So we was playing Pomona, and these niggas were so dirty, bro. And I was a tailback, right? So every time I got tackled, like they hit me when I'm on the ground and shit hitting my ribs and shit. Like these niggas was dirty, bro. So anyway, it was one play, they tackled me and it's like three of them hitting me. I get up, I just rush one of the dudes. I'm like, I can't take it no more. I just rush one of the dudes, and then both sidelines just come. It's like a movie. This sideline come, and it's a big ass scrap. And during the midst of the scrap, I'm getting my ass whooped because I'm on like the bottom of the pile. Like when everybody came, they like got on me. So I'm at the bottom of my pile, and I'm just getting fucked up because I can't get out. There's too many people on top of me. So by the time I get out, I just feel somebody grab me real hard. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it's one of them, like one of the Pomona dudes. And then they grabbed me and lifted me off my feet. So I'm thinking it's like somebody from Pomona. And when they lift me on my feet, I just turned around, and whoever I felt had did that, I just took off on him. Wow. And it happened to be the fucking dean, the dean of my high school. But he had me by like my shoulders, and he's shaking me and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, nigga, you know what I'm saying? Boom. You know what I'm saying? And so he threw me off of him, and then my coach just came and grabbed me. And then I'll never forget him saying, he's like, I'm gonna get you, Thompson. I'm gonna get you. And I'm like, man, whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, but that motherfucker wasn't lying. So that 11th grade, me and the homie talking that shit in the back of the classroom, clowning. Mr. Culberson and one of the security guards, they come in the classroom, and they're like, as soon as they come in the classroom, I look at the homie. I was like, bro, either they coming for me or they coming for you, homie. And he's like, I know, BT. And they were like, Mr. Thompson, can we see you in the office? I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm like, man, I was like, man, I'm fucked. I go to the office, and he's like, yeah. So he sends me down. I'm like, man, why am I here, man? He's like, man, listen, we He's like, man, he's like, I've been doing an investigation on you. I said, an investigation?
The
like,
principal?
In high school. No, yeah, the dean. They told the security guard, they was like, pat him down. Now, see, they didn't know that the security guard was a head. You know what I'm saying? He was a head, and he was
like a few, most of them are.
You already know the business.
Hang on, even.
And this head just happened to be our head. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, he's patting me down, and like he's feeling it. He's feeling the shit. You know what I'm saying? I had put shit in my drawer and stuff, and he's patting me down. You know what I'm saying? And he's feeling it, but he's bypassing it, but he's acting like he's thorough. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't find nothing. And then he's like, man, I don't feel he ain't got nothing or whatever. So the dean is hot. He's like, don't worry, Miss Thompson, we're gonna get you, man. I'm like, man, y'all full of shit. I'm like, man, I'm talking shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, this is some bullshit, man. Y'all fucking with my rights and woo. You know, now I'm cocky, young, stupid. And then I'm walking, he's like, you can go back to class. I'm like, man, I'm going, all right, cool, man. So I'm walking out. And then he said, I take one step out the door, out the dean's door. And he says, Mr. Thompson, he's yelling. He said, Mr. Thompson. I'm like, what, man? What you want now, man? And he's like, what's that on the floor? And I'm like, I looked down, man, and it was one of my little baggies, man. And I'm like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? He took my money, and I'm sitting there, and he's like, just talking shit. And I'm like, man, can I use the bathroom, bro? And he's like, yeah, but the security guard got to go with me. I was like, all right. So the security guard goes up, and then the security guard's like, he's like, man, you got anything else on you? I was like, yeah, man. He's like, man, flush that shit when you get in there. I was like, man, good looking, bro. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I go back. And man, so they arrest me, right? So the fucked up thing was he was like, man, he's like, I'm gonna make an example out of you to all your homies and everybody else. He's like, they're gonna take you down during lunch. So this motherfucker made me wait to take me down in handcuffs at lunch where everybody could see. So lunchtime hits, these motherfuckers is taking me down and they handcuff me and then they walk me across the yard. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I get down there and fucked up thing was I guess they had called my pops, and my pops got there so early that he's following the fucking police car that's taking me to jail. He's following the damn police car, bro. So I get to look at my fucking dad in the rearview mirror following the fucking police car taking me to jail, man. You know what I'm saying? I get in the tank or whatever, and I wasn't even there that long. You know what I'm saying? They did what they did, and then they let me out or whatever. And I remember when they opened the door, I remember my dad was standing there like this, and I just remember the look on his face. And I told the police, I was like, hey, man, just take me back. Fucking, I'd rather go to jail. And the police, it's funny that you laugh because the police fell out laughing too. And he's like, you go deal with your daddy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, man. And all he says to me was, calm. I thought he was about to rip my head off. All he says to me was, Brandon, I don't think I can get you out of this, son. He's like, I don't think I can get you out of this. So his whole great father, his whole worry was, I fucked up so bad to where he can't help me. He can't save me. I put myself in a position where he can't come and help me. And that bothered him worse than what I actually did. That's what he was most upset about, was he knew that he could. I put myself in a position to where now I didn't fuck with the law and he can't do nothing. There's nothing he can do. Now they can do something to his son without him being able to say no. You know what I'm saying? And that's what fucked him up the most. So the thing about that was they kicked me out the whole district. The school district has like the bad school, the continuation school. So that's the only school I could go to. So I remember my dad had to take me down there. And my dad chose to take me down there for the first day or whatever. And it's to like get me in and enroll me or whatever. And I'll never forget, like, and I don't think I even did it on purpose. But I just happened to be, but I had a tight little fit on though. It was like Dockers with the little white Dockers with the white and blue Nautica shirt, but it was a lot of blue though. You know what I'm saying? And
naturally, you just wore a lot of blue.
Period. I mean, that's where you come on now. So my dad was like, he said, I'll never forget him saying, he said, so you're wearing your colors, huh? You know. And then I looked at him. He never said anything like that to me before. You know what I'm saying? I looked at him. I was like, nah, Pops. I'm like, nah. And he's like, yeah, no, yeah. And then that's all he said though. So my dad took me down to the continuation school, and it was this white dude who was the principal. So we sitting in his office, and he has his door open, and I'll never forget, it was these two blood dudes, and they come stand right by his door, And we're talking about getting me enrolled and shit. My dad's asking questions and shit, like a professional meeting, like, you know what I'm saying? And these niggas is talking loud. They like, blood, you see that nigga, blood? I think I seen that nigga up there, blood, woo, 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 blood, woo, 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 woo. But he was like, blood, we got one, blood, blood. They was happy as a motherfucker. That kid kept saying, blood, we got
one. You looking like, who the fuck is they talking about?
Period. I'm like, I keep giving side eyes, like, nigga, you know what I'm saying? And so these dudes is like, so now they like, we got one, you know what I'm saying? So they talking loud. We all hearing it, you know what I'm saying? And my dad is looking at the principal like, are you not gonna say nothing? Like, principal is just like, he showed right there, he has no control over the school because they just sitting there, they talking louder and like the principal didn't say.
He's scared of them too. What the fuck you talking?
Exactly. And my dad that's what he saw all of that. And he's like, we're walking out, and we're walking out. And I'll never forget my dad saying, he's like, son, don't worry, I'll never send you here. You know what I'm saying? He was like, man, why don't you figure out where you want to go? I was like, all right. So I'll never forget. This is funny. I'll never forget. I told my wife this, so it's all good. But I remember I was asking my homeboy Shay too. I was like, hey man, fuck should I go, homie? Like, what the fuck, man? I can't go nowhere. Where should I go? He was like, nigga, you need to go to Monrovia. That's where all the hoes is at. The hoes is in Monrovia, bro. You need to go. So we didn't know about Monrovia there, but he kept saying like, nigga, you need to go Monrovia. That's where the hoes is at. I'm like, Monrovia? I was like, where the fuck is Monrovia? He's like, niggas over there by the Wardy, right in front of the Wardy. I was like, Monrovia? I was like, what the fuck, man? He's like, nigga, that's where the hoes at, bro. I'm telling you. I'm like, all right. So I tell my dad the next day, I was like, Dad, I want to go to Monrovia. He's in Monrovia. I was like, yeah. He's like, all right. He's like, get your clothes on, let's go. I'm like, now? You know what I'm saying? So he's like, yeah, come on. Monrovia was a couple cities over from where I grew up. You know what I'm saying? So the homie just was like, okay, this is what's going on. So I'm like, all right, let's go. So I go over there with my dad, and the Monrovia as a school was way nicer than Pasadena, than John Muir. It was. And it looked nicer, you know, the whole 9 yards. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the people. I'm just talking about just the fucking look of it. You know what I'm saying? The ambiance. So the fucking the MTL ambiance was stellar compared to fucking Pasadena.
It's so, that's don't let the trees fool you, California do you type look. That's that shit. That's
exactly what that was, because I learned real fast where the fuck I was at. So, and you're gonna laugh too, but yeah, I'm gonna tell it all. And all the shit that I've been talking about, all the shit I'm telling you I was in, I still kept my grades up. I still had like a 3.6 or a 3.7 or something. Because that's one thing about my father. My father was on that shit. It didn't matter like what you did in the streets and shit like that. Like he would let niggas get away with shit. But when it came to them grades, he wasn't fucking around. That's why him and my brother clashed, because my brother just didn't keep his grades up. But me, I saw all the bullshit that my brother had to go through with my dad. And I'm like, I don't want no smoke with pops like that. So one thing I did, I kept my grades up. And I remember my homies used to be making fun of me and shit when I used to be like, nigga, where you going? I'd be like, nigga, I'm going to class. Like you motherfuckers should be. We are at school. We probably should go to class. You know what I'm saying? So
like literally, motherfuckers literally went to school for the lunch. Some of these motherfuckers. Because they didn't go to class.
So my dad was like, listen, we're going to tell them he's like, we're going to tell them that, you know, I work for the railroad and my job is transferring out there. We just moved out here and we're just trying to get you into school. I'm like, all right. I had my transcripts and everything. And I get my transcripts and we give it to Miss Warrenbrand. And she's looking through my transcripts and shit. And she's like, wow. She's like a 3.6, honors English, honors math. You're in algebra 2. You need to take pre-calculus. She's like, honors science. I had all honors classes, all above. I had Spanish. I was in Spanish 3. You know what I'm saying? I mean, super advanced. She's like, wow, you're doing a great job, son. And, you know, woo. Like 3.6, oh great. She's like, you know what? We're not even gonna fucking mess around. She's like, you don't need to miss any more time. You're going to class right now. And then I looked at my dad like, oh shit. So she didn't. The only reason that they didn't inquire about anything else is because of my grade point average and my grades. Now it's a full day, right? And I seen a girl from Pasadena, but I see her at lunch, and then she comes up to me and gives me a hug and shit. And as you know, as you're familiar with a little known gang called the Do-Rocks, you know what I'm saying? There's a Crip gang out in DeWard in Monrovia called the Do-Rock, you know what I'm saying? And I knew, you know what I'm saying? I've been known, you know what I'm saying? Everybody know him. And I saw all the niggas wearing blue, so I figured I was like, wait, them must be the do-rocks. They had their own little area and shit. Like, them must be the do-rocks, but I don't know none of them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not about to go up and be like, what up? And then I remember all the niggas in blue was staring at me when I was talking to her. So at the time I didn't know, but at the time they're all thinking like, this nigga blood. That's the only reason he know a girl. You know what I'm saying? So that was the looks. I was wondering what the looks was. You know what I'm saying? That was the look they was giving me. So I didn't know this. Right. So fifth period come. And I go to the bathroom, and I come out of the class. I go to the bathroom, and it was three dudes. It was two dudes. It was two dudes, and I go to the bathroom, and then one of the niggas just on me immediately. He like, "Cuz nigga, where you from? This dude right? Whoa, 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 whoa!" I'm like, nigga, this whoa, 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 and they like, dude, step back. He like, what? He like, oh man, we thought you was woo, 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 woo. I'm like, hell no, nigga. Well, we like, oh man, we got another one. We got another one. He like, what's up, homie? Woo, woo. I'm like, oh, what up, bro? You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I met. You know what I'm saying, my boy. You know what I'm saying? And that's the first time we met. You know what I'm saying? And then I met his boy, and then he introduced me to all his boys and shit. You know what I'm saying? So those are the first niggas I started kicking it with when I got to Monrovia. So I started kicking with all these do-rod niggas. And you know what I'm saying? So I'm learning all about this shit, you know, about them niggas and all that, you know. And then I'm getting more affiliated with just Monrovia and Duarte just in general. And it's funny because during that time I was still fighting the case. And man, this was fucked up. I was up there. Oh, so when I was in court, the judge, this lady, man. Mr. Culberson got up on the stand and ripped me apart. He's talking all of this bad shit like I'm I was Scarface or something.
No, he didn't come to the witness stand.
That nigga came to the
witness. He hated your ass for that punch.
Man, I'm telling you, bro, I better never see that dude again. You know what I'm saying?
He was mad that you punched him like that for real. Then
he was when he said he was out to get me, he wasn't lying. Because that motherfucker, not only did he get me kicked out, he's the one that got me kicked out. Then he came to my court, and I'll never forget. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even got convicted. The judge convicted me to the fullest extent of the law.
So that was intense. Brandon shared a lot about his association with gang membership and violence. It was great to hear Brandon's story, but let's find out how many years the judge sentenced him, and how did gang banging cripple his adulthood, or did it? Join us next time on a D4 Week show to hear the outcome of Brandon's life. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below and share. We love to hear back from you guys. Again, thanks for watching the D4 Week show.